There we go. Now we're recording.
There we go. Flip it. So the maximum RCTP award for a city is going to be 25,000. We'll fund a maximum of 80% of that total project cost, and then the city is going to have to secure funding for a minimum of 20% of the total project cost. And the sort of projects that we've had in the past and are eligible are flashing warning lights, signals, street lights, reconstruction of a road, resurfacing of a road, crack filling, safety improvements, especially the intersection, the sidewalks, ADA ramps, crosswalks. And then there is obviously there's some projects that we have outside of that. And you'll have to contact your county engineer before you submit your application, make sure that your project it will be eligible to be funded. So to apply, cities must complete the following for the application deadline. Complete that project application form, submit the signed authorization to apply resolution, submit the priority project resolution, a project cost estimate, and submit photos showing the existing condition of the project site. One note on the photos, we know it's snow covered right now, so if it would help you out or it would show the area or the project area a little bit better, we could probably take these a little bit past that application deadline or whenever the snow clears up, if that would improve the photos for you. And then the application deadline is going to be 5 p.m. on March 9th, 2023. So a little bit different than it was last year. And all of these forms will be on the website on the RCTP or the RPA website. We have a link on, I think, on the next page. So the application form guidelines, we'll have guidelines for each county, they're a bit different for each one. And other materials will be at that link below. You can click on that. It's not populated right now. We'll be working on populating it over the next couple of days. And cities should submit all the required application documents and photos through that project application form, which Dan will show at the end here. And cities may also submit the additional supporting materials such as letters of support through that project application form. And if you don't have all these all at one time, or you submit them just a couple of days, separate from each other, that's okay. You don't need to submit everything all at once. So that's fine with the new way that we have what Dan will show you. So.
Yeah, so I guess I would just add that in the past, we've relied primarily on email for sending a lot of this information out. So a lot of the forms and sample documents and things like that. So we will still do that this year. We'll still be sending out an email announcing the opening of the application process with the documents included. But we are also going to try to include that information on the website as well. So you have another place to go access that if you need to.
Yeah. I was just going to say another note on kind of us reaching out to you guys to mitigate any issues on receiving information. We have some in the past. We've had some issues with certain emails not getting to us due to various email filters. We'll be reaching out to all the clerks or all the mayors through mail, postage mail. Probably expect that, I think, next week or so. And then we will kind of blast out an email as we have before, but we'll try to get this information out to everyone in a really comprehensive way. So just kind of look at the timeline for this whole project. So we'll be, obviously today we are doing the city clerk workshop, and then from February to March 9th, we want the cities to complete the project application form, submit those resolutions, cost estimate, and then the caveat with the photos. So you can probably get those in just whenever snow clears up. So That'll be on by 5 p.m. on March 9th. And then as we get them, we'll be writing the applications up for you. And then April to May, RPA 8 will form a ranking committee and will assist the committee with ranking the applications. So Dan will go into how we actually rank these, but it's more than just us. It'll be a committee that also looks at these, given the way that we evaluate. And then first week of June, we expect that the County Board of Supervisors will be approving projects. By the end of June, those 28 agreements between the counties and the cities receiving the funding will be signed or will be drafted. And August 1st, the RPA balance sheets will be updated. And you can go to the next slide. They might be. And I'll turn it over to Dan to talk about the project evaluation criteria.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So the project evaluation criteria is the same as it has been for the past couple years. We didn't make any changes to it for this round. So all the projects that come in will be evaluated by that committee that's appointed by the RPA board. And so they'll be scoring the applications on a scale of up to 100 points. So those 100 points are broken down into the following categories: traffic, safety, local match, community support, and existing conditions. So I'll go through each of these, but just so you know, some of these ranking criteria are just based on basically the project data, and then others are more subjective categories that are values that are assigned by the members of the ranking committee. So the first category is traffic. That's worth 20 points. So in this category, the ECIA staff will assign a score to the application based on a traffic count to city population ratio. So that's traffic count divided by the population of the city. So again, this is one where it's just based primarily on data. For the calculation of traffic scores, we use the most recent Iowa DOT traffic counts or estimates, or traffic counts provided by a third party that uses a standard Federal Highway Administration approved traffic count procedure. For the population numbers, we use the total city population from the most recent decennial census. So at this point, we are on to using the 2020 census numbers for this calculation. So the table there shows you the criteria. So if it's a score of greater than or equal to 0.25 and less than 0.45, that's a score of 5. Then 0.45 to 0.65 is 10. 0.65 to 0.85 is 15 points, and then greater than or equal to 0.85 score is 20 points. So the next criteria is safety. So in this category, the staff will assign a score to each application based on the safety benefit cost ratio. So for this calculation, it's another one that is primarily based on data. The staff use an Iowa DOT benefit cost safety analysis worksheet. So Iowa DOT crash data and crash reduction factors from the crash modification factors clearinghouse. So this is essentially the same process that's used by the Iowa DOT on the statewide traffic safety improvement program applications. We just borrowed their forms to do these calculations. So the committee can also give a special safety considerations that projects that provide safe routes to school and improve safety for children. So on this score, it's so greater than or equal to a score of 0.5 and less than 0.75 is a score of 5. Greater than or equal to 0.75 and less than 1 is a score of 10. Greater than 1 is a score of 15. Then in addition, with the safe routes to school determination that's made by the committee, that they can award up to 5 additional points for the safety category. So you can get 15 for the data, and then with the safe routes to school, that's another 5 potential points. So a total of 20 points. So the next category is local match. So staff will assign a score to the application based on the percentage of local funding. So to calculate the percentage, staff divide the local funding provided by the project budget by the total project budget. So for local match, the minimum requirement is that applications have to have at least 20% local funding. So if you have that, and if you have exactly 20, then you don't get any points here. If you have less than 20, then the project is not eligible to apply. So then the criteria awards more points the greater proportion of local funding you have beyond 20%. So if it's greater than or equal to 20, but less than 25, then it's a score of 5. Greater than or equal to 25 and less than 35 is a score of 10. Greater than or equal to 35 and less than 45 is a score of 15. And greater than or equal to 45% is a score of 20. So the next category is community support. And so this is the category that's one of the subjective ones that with points assigned by the members of the committee. So the project ranking subcommittee will award between 0 and 20 points in the community support category based on the level of community support demonstrated in the application. So applications can demonstrate community support by submitting letters of support from citizens, businesses, schools, churches, or other organizations, signing petitions, meeting minutes, newspaper articles, or other relevant documentation. So anything that you do to show that this project is supported by the community will help earn points in this category. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of how the ranking process works out with the committee, usually each committee member will assign a score in the category. So in the community support category, they can assign up to 20 points. Then we take their scores, record them, and average them out. So the final score that's awarded to the project is an average score of all the committee members. Okay, so the next category is existing conditions. So the project ranking committee will award 0 to 20 points in the existing conditions category based on the conditions of the existing infrastructure and the project area. So the committee can also consider in this category how effective the proposed project will be in addressing the deficiencies in the existing infrastructure. And applicants can demonstrate existing conditions through photographs, an engineer's evaluation, or other relevant documentation. So this is where the photos really come into play in this category. The committee is going to take a look at those and see what the existing, if it's for a roadway project, they'll look at the existing roadway surface and make a determination of how bad the existing condition is, and then look at what the proposed project is and award points based on how well they think that project will address the existing conditions. We have had a couple of examples of projects in the past where we had some pictures of a really terrible looking roadway with a lot of potholes, a lot of cracks, things like that. And then the proposed project was just a resurfacing project. And the committee decided to award less points for that project because they didn't feel that the project would adequately address the issues that were present there. They felt that the entire roadway may need to be reconstructed to really address those issues, and so they awarded those points based on that. So I mean, in this category, photos are the main thing that they'll be looking at, but in some cases, if there's other documentation, they'll take a look at that too. So in a lot of cases, photos are going to be the only thing. But anything else, they will also consider in this category. So the last section here is the point deduction based on previously approved RCTP funding awards. So the project ranking committee deducts points from applications where the applicant has received RCTP funding in the past, for the past 5 years. So as you can see from the table there, the amount of points deducted from the application starts out at 75% or 75 points for cities that were awarded funding 1 year ago, and then goes down from there. So 2 years ago is 50 points, 3 years ago is 25 points, 4 years ago is 10 points, and then by the time you get to the 5th year, there's no more point deduction. So that is our presentation. This is our contact information here. So if you are considering applying, or if you are working on an application and you have questions, comments, or need any help on anything, you can contact me or Chris or Chandra, either through email or on the phone, and we will get back to you and help you out in any way we can. So that is the end of our slide presentation here. I guess our next item is to do a demonstration new application form, but I think I'll take a pause here and I'll see if anyone has any questions at this point, based on what we've gone over so far.
Hi, this is Helen Brown. I'm the mayor of Zwingle. Does this also include sidewalks?
So with sidewalks, those types of projects have been funded before through the program, but they typically they may not score as well as other applications. I think the most cases where a sidewalk project gets or sidewalk projects that have been funded are typically ones that are providing safe routes to school. And so they're getting the extra safety points for a sidewalk project. But yeah, typically typically sidewalks and trails and things like that are not generally funded unless they're a safe routes to school project.
Okay, I have one other question. If
Yes.
What is the earliest you will accept an application?
So we are working on getting everything up and announcements out and getting our website up. We're hoping to have that up by next week. And so once that announcement goes out, you can go ahead and start submitting information as soon as you want.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. If the city has enough money, has enough funds to pay for the project, does that exclude a city from applying for the funds?
No, I don't think it would. I think it would. The evaluation criteria actually award more points if the city's paying for a larger portion of the project. So I don't think that would exclude the city.
Okay. Good.
All right. So I think we're going to go to our demonstration now. Get this set up here, share my screen. All right, can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, so as Chris mentioned in his part of the presentation, in the past, we have relied on email a lot for submitting applications. And that's worked out okay for the most part, but we have had some instances where emails didn't get through. Our announcement emails that went out, out from our end didn't get to people, and emails that coming back to us didn't get through. So after the last round of applications, we decided to look for a different process to use for for taking applications for the RCTP program. So what we came up with was this RCTP grant application form. So this is basically an online survey that we have set up. And it's essentially the same as any sort of online survey you may have taken in the past, through SurveyMonkey or something like that. But the nice thing about this is this not only allows you to type in information, but it will also allow you to upload different files and attachments through the form. So what I have set up here is just a basic demonstration of what how the form works. So the form here, make this a little bigger, but this is the form. And so the first few questions on the form are essentially the same as the old questionnaire Word document that we used to have you fill out. So the same basic information about the city and about the project. You just fill it into this online form instead of submitting it in a Word doc. So the first few questions are the name of the city, and I've kind of filled out this form ahead of time so you can kind of see, but you'd fill in the name of the city. With this question, there is a little red star here next to this one, and that one means it is a required question. So this is the only question that's actually required you fill out before you submit the form. That doesn't mean that you're not required to provide all this other information. It just means you can submit the form with partially filled in information. We just need to be able to know which city is submitting it. So we'll be able to match up all the records. So if you submit multiple times, we can use this name of city as a way to match up all those records that you've submitted. So the next is we have a all right. So the next question is just the location of the project. So in this case, the example here is it's Main Street from First Avenue to Second Avenue. Next question is, why does the community need this project? So this is your opportunity to just explain the project a little more and let us know why it's needed. So in this example, I said the street hasn't been resurfaced in many years. There's many cracks and potholes, and the street provides access to local business. So, you can go up to, I think, 1,000 words in this section. So feel free to add any additional explanation that you want there. And then the project timeline. So in this line, you fill in the expected month that the project is expected to begin construction, and the expected number of weeks to complete the project. So in this case, we have, we're starting construction in August of 2023 and expecting the project to take approximately 5 weeks to complete. So the next set of questions are the project cost. So this is where you fill in first the local contribution for the project. So in this case, we have 40,000. Well, that's too much, but there. So RCTP request is 10,000 and the total project cost is 50,000. So in this question, we just want to make sure that local contribution is going to be at least 20% of the total project cost. And also no in-kind match is allowed for match on these projects. So the next section, the project contact person. So this is going to be the person that's primarily communicating with us as we're putting together the applications. So you put in the name of the contact person, their title, a mailing address, phone number, and then an email address. And moving down here is where we get to the section where you can upload documents and photos. So this form should be pretty easy to use. All you really have to do is take your files that you have saved on your computer and drag them over into the form and drop them in the correct location. So the first one here is for the authorization to apply a resolution. And so over here in my folder, I just have, the resolution file saved as a PDF. It could be, a Word document or any really other standard type of document that you have on your computer. So you just take that, drag it over, drop it in there, and so that's in there now. So the next one is the priority project resolution. So again, take that resolution file. This is our next one, drag it over, drop it in there. That's in there now. And our cost estimate. So this is another document, cost estimate. Drop it in. Photos, so we have 4 photos, so we'll just drop those files in here. And well, we got one of them in there. And I think I may need to adjust the maximum number, but I'll fix that up. But anyway, we dropped as many. I think we were thinking we'll probably limit it to about 10 photos that you can drop in there. And then other supporting documents after that. So in this case, we have 1 letter of support. Drop that in there. And there we go. So we have all our documents that we had over here in our file. So after that, we just hit the submit button. And so it's taking a little bit to submit everything, upload all the files that we added. And once that's done successfully, you should get this thank you message and that your response was submitted successfully. There is an option here where you can click here to submit another response. So again, you're not limited on the number of times you can submit. So you just click here and that reloads the form. And start back over with the blank form again. Again, the only thing that that it won't allow you to submit on is this name of cities. So if we go down without anything in there and hit submit, it's going to say you have an error, you need to put your city name. But other than that, everything else, you can submit partially whenever you want. So like I said before, once we send these announcements out and get this information out there, you can start submitting information as soon as possible. We will try to keep track of all the information that we're submitting, and we'll try to reply by email. We will reply by email and just let you know, like this is what we have. We received your information and we have it on our end. And then once you get everything submitted, we'll send you an email again saying, we've received everything and your application is complete. So that is the new form. Are there any questions or comments on that?
So just to clarify, we can apply for grants for multiple projects?
So you can only apply for one project at a time. So when I said we could submit, you could submit the form multiple times. That's, for the same project, just submitting additional information. So you can go ahead and fill out the form and get that done. But if you don't have your resolutions ready quite yet, you can go ahead and submit the form, then come back a week or 2 later when the city council meeting is done, you approve the resolutions, then upload those then. And then maybe if the snow's still on the ground for a little bit and you can't get pictures right away, you can go ahead and submit those later after that. So one application per city, but you can submit the form multiple times.
Got it. Thank you.
With there being $70,000 total that is available, does a project have a better chance of getting approved if the request is less rather than more? Like our project to do this repair and reseal coating of the streets is $40,000. Would our chances of being successful, would it be greater if we requested $5,000 rather than $10,000?
Possible. I guess the way there's no, the main benefit for the score, the project scoring is having more local, showing more local match, a higher percentage of local match. That gets you more points in the ranking process. So the total amount requested or the total amount wouldn't have much impact on the scoring. Now, if you did have a smaller request amount, and so the way it works is all the projects are ranked in order based on their scores. And the money gets assigned to those projects until the money runs out. So, if you did have a smaller project and maybe there was some, $5,000 left over at the end. And there was projects ranked ahead of you that asked for higher amounts, but they didn't want to accept the higher amount. And you had 5,000, there was 5,000 less, potentially. You could take advantage of that money that way. So I guess I don't know if there is much benefit to
Okay,
requesting more or less. The one thing to think about though is, if you do get awarded funding, you do get points taken off your future years applications. So if you only request 5,000, then you get awarded 5,000, you still get those points taken off in the future years. And the same amount of points taken off as you would if you had requested a higher amount up to your $25,000 max.
but if we do request 10,000. And the total project cost is 40,000. And the money gets used up. By other requests. Is it an all or nothing thing? Is it either meeting our $10,000 request? Or will the committee say, we can't do 10,000, but we'll do 5,000?
Yeah, so the money will get awarded until it's all used up. So starting at the top and working the way down. So a lot of times what happens is, maybe the first two projects will get $25,000 each. Then the third project, they requested 25, but there's only 20 left. So what we will do then is contact that city and say, do you want to, we can't fund the full amount you requested, but do you want to accept this lesser amount? Then it's up to them to decide yes or no, whether they want to accept that or not. If they say yes, then they get the money. If not, then we just go to the next city and ask them and kind of work the way down the line until that money is used up.
Okay. Good. You said resolutions,
Yes.
plural.
Yep.
I can only think of one resolution that we would have.
So, and that's probably that authorization to apply resolution that the council says, we're authorizing this application. The other one is called the priority project resolution. So with this one, that resolution is intended to help the city with planning its projects out in the future. So with that resolution, the city is adopting a list of its future transportation projects that it may want to apply for. So the project that it's applying for needs to be included as part of that list in the priority project resolution. And so that's another requirement, another document.
What if we have none?
Well, then you would just have the same project listed. Typically, we tell cities, you can have like at least 3 projects, but really, if you truly have no other projects, then you just list that one as part of your list. As part of the documentation we provide samples of all these resolutions, so you can just take that and fill in your information.
And that's going to be in the on the website that you that you send us a link for.
So we'll send that out through email, and also we'll provide them on the website too.
Okay.
There's a question in the chat and it said, in the past, the county engineer participated in the evaluation and selection. Is this still the case?
I can answer that, Dan and Chris. The county engineers will not participate in the ranking process. The ranking will be done by a neutral party. The county engineers will get recommendations from the RPA staff, and the county engineer has the right to change the recommendations, but they will not participate in the ranking process.
So, yeah, so the county engineer doesn't participate in the ranking process. They will become most involved in this process after the funding is awarded. And so they will work with the city on the funding agreement. And then also they will evaluate the project once it's complete and process the final reimbursement to the city for the funding.
So does it, at the city level, do we have to contact the county engineer and arrange a meeting for them to come out and look at the project, or will they do that automatically based on us sending the application?
So I guess. So are you talking before you submit the application? Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, so no, they wouldn't do that automatically. I guess the main reason you need to contact the county engineer is if you have a project that wasn't listed as part of that list in the presentation. So maybe if I go back to that here. So there's a list of eligible projects. And so those are listed here. They're also included in that information that'll go out. But things like, you know, flashing warning lights, street lights, reconstruction, resurfacing, all those things are so if you're applying for one of those things, you don't really need to contact the county engineer. But if there's other projects that are sometimes listed that need additional approval. So if you have one of those other projects, then yes, then you can contact the county engineer and ask them and verify that the project would be eligible.
yeah. In our case, it's a straightforward standard reconstruction and resurfacing
Yeah, so
of city streets.
yeah, so that'd be eligible and you wouldn't need to contact the engineer.
Okay. Thank you for that.
And we got another question in the chat. In the past, my support letters were addressed to the county engineer. Should they be addressed to someone else then?
Yeah, I think you can still continue addressing them to the county engineer. I think that would be fine.
This is John with Dyersville. That first question was mine. Hey, Chandra, you said something about that the county engineer can, I forget how you put it, but it sounded like you said he can change the award or something like that. Is that what you said? And what would
So,
possibly
yeah.
cause-
for example, let's say we got 6 applications and we ranked them. And we gave our reasoning for the ranking and the board's subcommittee's ranking to the county engineer. The county engineer has the authority to change that ranking and move the projects around if he wants to. Most of the time, 99.9% they don't move because they need to give a valid reason to the supervisors why they move them around. But if they want to, they can do that. But
Okay. By the way, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate it.
thank you, no problem.
All right, are there any other questions?
When do you anticipate the link being sent out?
I think we will have that up next week.
Next week.
Is our goal,
Okay.
to get all that information out next week.
So Dan, anybody that just meets once a month, say for instance, we just have that second Monday in February, all this stuff has to be wrapped through council to get council approval on everything in one fell swoop. At this point, we don't have an opportunity for more than one meeting, correct?
Yeah, so So, yeah, I guess it would be February to get things approved through the council.
So any community that does not yet have a resolution with their projects, then they're gonna have to do the projects and the resolution approving the application all at one time, correct?
Yeah,
Is there any chance it can, maybe look at next year a little bit earlier, so council has a little more time to look at that?
yeah, we can. We
They'll
can.
probably they may kick the can down the road anyway, but just to give them a little more information ahead of time.
Sure, yeah, we can look at that for next year. All right, are there any other questions or comments from anyone on the call? All right, I think that's all we had for today. Again, if you do have any questions that come up later, feel free to contact us and we'll go ahead and get those answered. We'll also be posting the video of this presentation and the slides from the presentation on the website, along with the other information that we'll be getting up there next week. So with that, I'll thank you all for coming out again, and thanks for your participation. And we will talk to you later.
Thank you.